you can look at the situation right now, right at this exact moment, right now, to tell you how much power America has lost. So all of you who are thinking that America is too powerful, the US is too powerful, you're thinking of the world situation as it was around 30 years ago. And the psychological trauma that the world has suffered as a result of American domination has caused everyone to, as they say, once bitten, twice shy. Well, the world has felt the lash of the United States. They felt the sting of the lash of the United States for decade after decade after decade. So now we keep waiting for that lash again. We keep waiting, thinking that they're going to lash the world again and that you can never rise up against them. But that slave master has gotten old. That slave master has gotten weak, and his former slaves have gotten stronger. It's like if America took if you compare it to, say, for example, a hostage taker who takes a bunch of children hostage and keeps them for years and years and years. Well, they grow stronger while he gets older and weaker. And that's what's happened with the United States vis-a-vis the world. And you can look at, as I say, the situation right now. What's happening right now? Everyone, America, everyone, Europe, the West, everyone is doing what? Waiting to see what Iran is going to do. They're waiting to see what Iran is going to do, if Iran is going to retaliate and how they're going to retaliate. 30 years ago, no one would be waiting. 30 years ago, America would have just directly attacked Iran in a preemptive strike. They would have been able to build a coalition of all the European nations. They would have even been able to build a coalition with the GCC, the Arab nations, against Iran. Everyone would have been on board because they wouldn't have had a choice not to be. And Iran would have been devastated already. And all of the people of Gaza would have already been expelled from Gaza. They would have been expelled into the Sinai. And they tried to do that. But everybody has the option now to say no. Egypt said no. Jordan said no. Saudi Arabia said no. And they can't force them. They can't force their hand because now there's the rise of the global south. Now there's a rise of BRICS. Now the global consensus actually has some power now. Because the global consensus, as I say, has always been the global consensus, whether it's on the issue of Palestine or anything else. If you had the time, you could go back and look at every vote in the General Assembly with regards to Israel or with regards to almost any other issue. And there's always a global consensus, and America is always on the other side of the global consensus. And then America got to overrule. Well, their actual, real existing power of the United States isn't anything like what it used to be. The vision that you have in your mind of American power is obsolete now. The vision that you have in your mind is outdated. If it was 30 years ago, if it was in the 1990s, the scenario that we're facing right now with regards to Israel and Iran, if that was playing out in the 1990s or even the early 2000s, well, there wouldn't even be an Iran anymore. There would have been a massive global international community, so-called Western country coalition attack on Iran preemptively. No one would be waiting to see what Iran is going to do. But everyone is shaking in their boots, waiting to see what's going to happen, because they're not sure if they're going to be able to deal with whatever Iran is going to do. I'm just saying, this is the facts. America is waiting. Everyone is on tenterhooks, waiting to see what's going to happen, because they don't have the actual power anymore to force their will on the world. So this image that you have in your mind of this all-powerful super state, that reality doesn't exist anymore except in your mind. So the main thing is you have to get that out of your mind, because that's the only place that version of reality exists. That's not the reality of the world that we live in today. And so, yes, we can get them expelled from the United Nations, and we can actually get members of the Security Council who you think will veto it. France and the UK, you think that they will veto this measure, but I'm telling you, this isn't the world that we live in anymore. The UK and France have to think about their future. If they remain tied to America, then they're going to become slaves. They're already becoming slaves to the United States. They're going to become what we were in the previous decades. All of Europe is going to be subjugated by the United States. And meanwhile, the global south is going to rise. France is thinking about all of the power and the influence that they've lost in Africa. That was part of how they even were able to survive as a country, with their access to resources in, for example, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso. Well, they got kicked out. they're thinking about repairing their relationship with the global South. They're thinking about trying to recover their relationship with Africa, their relationship also even with China. They're thinking about how they're going to go forward in the future. And the future is not American. That's a fact. The future of this world is not an American future. And the countries that are on the Security Council, we don't need to worry about what China is going to do on the Security Council. We don't need to worry about Russia is going to do on the Security Council. Obviously, they're not going to veto a movement to expel the United States from the UN. The only danger is from France and the UK. But I'm telling you that they have to think about their own future, and they have to be foresightful. And the way that the balance of power has changed, it's not a given that they will veto it. At the most, they might abstain from a vote on Article 6. And then it will go to the General Assembly, and we just need to get a 2/3 majority at the General Assembly to invoke Article 6 against the UN, the United States. And I think that if you were to hold a vote right now at the General Assembly as to whether or not they want to expel the United States from the UN, well, I think you would see the largest consensus, the largest, almost near unanimous vote in favor of expelling the United States from the UN.